There we go. That should even out the look of things a little bit. And now we wait. We wait for the people to arrive. We wait. We wait. We wait. We wait. We wait. Very good. Very good. Very good. No attendant. Nice, Jordan. Phoebe streams are a great way to spend that time that you don't have much else to do at your workplace, honestly. You could ask for a worse time sink for sure. Healthy bro, would you say that satanic panic is kind of gay? Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, like gay in the 90s sense that it was kind of lame. Yeah, like satanic panic is super lame. The idea that people should be treated any differently because they use like edgy imagery or something like that is pretty stupid. I think we can all agree on that. Maybe we can't. Honestly, obviously we can't, because if we could agree on that, I don't feel like we would see as many people, especially like Christians and things like that, conservatives and those types, like reacting the way they do to symbols like the pentacle or even symbols like the squatter's right sign, you know? People are clearly still very symbol minded, as George Carlin once said. Have you ever been invited to Bohemian Grove? I am nowhere near rich, so no. Like, I'm not even like that baseline level. Dude, I'm a fucking. If you can't tell just by watching the fucking live stream, I'm a poor person. I can't go to fucking Bohemian Grove. I'm not in that social class that you have to be adjacent to be able to get invited to Bohemian Grove. Maybe if I'm a millionaire at some point. Maybe then. I wear a little hidden camera, tell you guys all about it, make a whole show about it. Be like, I got invited to Bohemian Grove. Here's what it's really like. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you're rolling in, by the way. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increase the quality of your viewing pleasure, but increase the number of people who can engage in the chat. Once we get some people in here, we'll start talking about some of the fucking crazy fucking news that has happened over the course of the last few days. Starting with the fact that the person who killed those National Guard soldiers, well, the person who critically wounded one and killed the other, was apparently a child soldier for the fucking CIA. So that's wild. Well, the Afghan army and the CIA, effectively. So that's wild. We'll get into that at some point. We're also going to get into the fact that Trump is going to pardon a known narco terrorist, an actual convicted drug trafficker, an actual convicted narco terrorist. Yeah, he's gonna pardon them. But despite all of this, he went on a massive screed on Truth Social on Thanksgiving, talking about how he wants to denaturalize any migrant who is a risk to domestic tranquility, whatever the fuck that means, and about how he wants to. I got a super chat. I'll answer that in 1 second. And how he wants to. What was the other thing? He wants to deport any migrant that is a threat to Western civilization, or no, incongruous with Western civilization is what he said. What the fuck does that mean? Who gets to who gets to decide what that is? Like, who gets to decide who is and isn't in alignment with Western civilization? It ain't much, but it's honest cash. Hope you have a good evening. Well, thank you, random Canadian. I appreciate that so fucking much. I always am fucking happy to see you up in here, and thank you. I hope I have a good night too. It seems like it'll probably be a good one, but you never know. The night is young yet. If anybody else would like to have their question or comment read or answered, consider sending a super chat. I do read every single one, just like I read that person's right there. I use their regular handle because I know them, but well, I don't know them, but like they're a regular in here, so I know their username and their little handle on YouTube. So, but I will gladly read your chat out if you send a super chat, or you can donate through the Cash App in my channel description. Either way, girl, go to bed. It's still early for me. Still pretty fucking early for me. How can I become more trans friendly? I don't know. That depends on how trans unfriendly you are. You are presently, you know. No kings. Yep. No kings, no gods, no masters. No kings, no gods, no masters. MAGA in shambles. Leftists on top. No kings, no gods, no masters. Femboy? No. I'm a trans woman, not a femboy. What do the British call cigarettes? Faggots. That's what you are. You can just call me a faggot. I'm pretty sure it's not one of the words that's bleeped out in my community words. I'm pretty sure you can just say it in here. If you can, I'm sure there's some kind of weird elite speak way that you can figure out to type it out. Now, how would you personally cut ties with Israel? Hey, Israel, it's me, Phoebe. Yeah, that's a good question. Do they think I have ties with Israel to cut? Dude, I love this idea. Number one, I'm anti-Israeli, so I'm openly critical of Israel. I'm openly critical of Israelis that come to other countries and act like they can bring that genocidal horseshit over wherever they go. I'm pretty fucking critical of Israelis, bro. I don't know. I'm pretty critical of the Israeli government and of the Zionist movement and project in general. I think that it's a colonialist project, primarily exists to serve Western interests, primarily exists to serve the interests of the United Kingdom and America. It's kind of a misnomer that it's a Jewish state. It's kind of um, a bait and switch, right? It's kind of a red herring because it's sold to the world community as a safe place for Jews, and it has been since the very beginning. But what it actually was a way for America and Great Britain to do something horribly anti-Semitic, e.g., deporting Jews, and get a strong foothold in the Middle East without pissing anybody off. They could deport all the Jews without the Jews getting mad, and they could take over Palestine, and it wouldn't matter if the Arabs got mad. Isn't that beautiful? Didn't it just solve so many problems? Yeah, sure. If you're a fucking bourgeoisie, white fucking American or British person, yeah, it sure solved a lot of problems for you. If you're in that fucking particular social class of people, didn't solve any problem for the Jewish people, didn't solve any problem for the fucking Palestinians. It did not solve the overall problem of anti Semitism because there's still a fucking problem with anti Semitism in this country and that country and every other country besides. Like, we keep not addressing the core bigotries and expecting them to go away. We keep trying to work with these solutions that are meant to service our interests, not to service the interests of the humanitarian need here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. At 117 viewers, I would hope we would have more than 5 measly likes. So come on, hit that button. You know you want to. You can also double tap your screen. That works as well. Or hit your physical like button if you've still got one available. I know not everybody does, but I really do appreciate it. Also, consider sending a super chat if you would like to have your comment or question read or answered. I do read every single one, as long as it doesn't violate TOS. Sounds like you hate America. If so, shouldn't you move out of this country? How does it sound like I hate America? Stonegate, I'm just curious. You're probably already gone, but like, did I say that I hate America? I've been criticizing Israel this whole time. I've been talking about how the rich white bourgeoisie in America and Britain had a shared interest in creating Israel. I don't know how that equates to hating America. Do you think America is nothing but rich white people? It's not. In fact, America is mostly poor white and black people, and then a little bit of Asian people, a little bit of really poor Native American people mixed in there, a couple of rich people from various minorities, and that's pretty much the makeup of it, right? Besides, like that tiny 0.1% of people who actually run and control everything, the aforementioned American and British white bourgeoisie. I'm sorry. I know that this is hard for people to hear. I know, dude. White nationalism is baked into the spirit of this country. It's baked into the personality of conservatives in a lot of cases. Not universally. I don't think every Republican is a Nazi, don't get me wrong. But in a lot of cases, that kind of thinking infects people who overall are not themselves all that racist. And it's really hard for like somebody that's grown up in the deep South with conservative friends and family and a conservative church community their whole lives to hear something like the rich white bourgeoisie of America and Britain are united in fucking over the working class of all of Western civilization and all of the world by extension as they work to imperialistically control more of it. It's incredibly difficult to hear something like that. You're programmed to think this person's just bullshitting you. But if you look into the things that I'm talking about, these are the facts that you will learn. I'm not making this up. This is the stuff you'll learn if you pick up a book about the history of Israel. Go look up go look up for the British Mandate of Palestine. Go look up the original Zionist projects that evolved in the late 1800s. Go look it up. I'm telling you, this is not shit I'm making up out of my head. And if you want further evidence to the overall tendency of the bourgeoisie in these shared countries, if you want more evidence for that, you can read the People's History of the United States. Excuse me. You can read Karl Marx's fucking. I know everybody hates Karl Marx, but you can read the Communist Manifesto, and if it's read not as something you should base your policies on, because it's not necessarily a book with a whole lot of political prescriptions, if you read it rather as a historical document that documents the rise and evolution of communist tendencies and what they are a reaction to, you can read that. There are all kinds of things you can read to inform yourself about why we are in this situation, how we came to this part in history, and ultimately it's not my bad if that's shocking to people. Are you from Israel? No. Mirror grandma? Yep. Do you realize that flag behind you, if you put four of them together, it makes a swastika, right? Did you know that if you fucking make up a bunch of crazy bullshit, you can fucking say anything? Yeah, I sure did. Literally, there's all kinds of shapes you can manipulate to create a swastika. That doesn't prove a goddamn thing. What a fucking stupid argument. What a dumbass fucking argument. Are you straight? No. This is a dude, not a woman. Found the bitter trans person that can't accept themselves and just come out for who they really are. Pegged you, sister. Just admit it. Just admit either that you're attracted to me or that you are trans yourself and that you've been denying a fundamental part of your gender identity for your entire life. You will feel so much better. By the way, hit that like button, you guys that are just rolling through. It really does help. It doesn't take anything from your time, and it is only a fucking, it's so simple, it's so easy, and it helps a lot. The narcissism is wild. Oh, yeah, that's not a common tendency among YouTubers at all. You really pegged me as a unique one. The Copen chat is real. They say ha ha ha, but we all know what states watch the most trans porn. That's 100% right. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, all states that watch the most queer porn. Can you update the potato you film with so blurry? I can. If you guys continue to support me with super chats and messages like that, I can, eventually. I can eventually. Gang, what did I just hear? It's spelled HEAR when used in that context. Just letting you know. Get a job. I am legally employed. This counts as a job. I'm sorry that you're bitter that you're not able to get an audience together. Listen, continue plying your craft. Sit in front of a camera for a few hours. Get a fucking audience together. It's not that hard to game YouTube's algorithms and fucking start making money. It is not my fault that you've never been able to make a creative endeavor work for yourself. Not my fault. You didn't answer my question. If you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, consider sending a super chat. I can't read every single chat that goes by in the regular chat. Are you a dude or a chick? I am a chick. I'm sorry that I have a deep voice. I know it throws people off. I guess 80 people is an audience. 129 people right now. Yeah. 9.2 thousand subscribers. Around 715,000 views over the last 28 days. Yeah, that's an audience. Around 250,000 returning viewers over the last 28 days. Yeah, that's an audience. 252 active live viewers. Yeah, it's an audience. Those are fake numbers. It's okay. Go look up Social Blade. Okay, I really don't care if you think they're fake numbers when they can be independently verified by numbers verification sites. Let's set up chat to be just a little bit more useful here, guys. Let's do any duration sub, and we'll do a 30-second slow mode. There we go. That should make things a little bit slower in chat, and I can probably read more questions, and hopefully it'll filter out some of the people that are just trying to spam and talk crazy bullshit. Maybe we'll get a higher quality of conversation now that I've hit these settings. Kicks back, exactly. No, Ignar's like, hell yeah. Or not Ignar, Merrick is like, fucking hell yeah. The numbers are too small to be faked. Yeah, why would I fake 250,000 viewers every 28 days? When, like, the top YouTubers are getting, like, millions in that time. Would be better if the gums actually liked the stream. We all know they come by most streams. Why not support the people you troll? Because they're bitter. Honestly, a lot of it is bitterness. Whether it's bitterness towards me because I'm out as trans and they can never be, or it's bitterness towards me because they're attracted to me and can never admit that to anybody and can never be seen to be actively attracted to somebody because then their whole life falls apart, right? These people come from entirely domineering cultures and lives, and ultimately they are projecting that out on me and lashing out at me because I represent a distinction from the everyday mainstream life that they were supposed to live, that they have lived their whole life, but that they realize every time they see a trans person like me that they didn't have to live that. They didn't have to be that. They didn't have to be so cloistered up. They didn't have to reject themselves, but they did. Whether it was in furtherance of social utility or whatever. Are you a Democrat? No. I'm incredibly critical of Democrats. I'm in the closet. How can I come out to my wife and kids? I mean, honestly, that is something I haven't had to do. I've had to come out to my parents and stuff, but like as far as like a life partner, I have never had to come out to a life partner because like I was single at the time when I came out, and the people that I've dated since then obviously knew I was trans from the very outset, So I don't know that I can give you like a lot of good advice on that. I can tell you what I tell pretty much everybody, which is if you're planning on coming out to somebody and you are dependent on them in any way, you really want to make sure that you're going to get a good reaction out of them, that it's not going to be something that's going to like destroy your life or something. Because if it does, like that, it's just a lot to deal with. Trust me, there are plenty of stories out there about queer people who have done that and who've had a really horrible outcome come from it. So it's a good thing to kind of take the temperature of the conversation and see how it's going to go. And if you know that it's going to go okay, right? In your case, like you might not be dependent on your wife. Your wife might be dependent on you. And so ultimately, it won't matter that much if she decides like she really hates that and it becomes some big thing. It would suck from a romantic standpoint, which is why you should probably still make sure. But it's not like your whole life would fall apart because of it. Um, that said, I would look for a creator that has actually like gone through that particular experience and ask them because I have not had to come out to a life partner. I'm still making my way through the Manatee Gauntlet. Unfortunately, I think he already flagged down half of them. No, I mean part one, part three, and part four, I think are still all up. I'm pretty sure, but the second part is down. The second part is down. I don't know what happened there. I'm not. I haven't been able to re-up my Patreon in a minute, so I don't know if they posted like a Patreon update or something like that. But it sucks. I'm sure we're gonna hear something about it tomorrow on Tuesday, whenever they do Onion Nuggets. Jewish Peter Griffin. I'm neither Jewish nor do I all like. I really don't even look all that much like Peter Griffin. So L comment, neither original nor funny. Get him out of here. That Afghan worked with Obama's CIA director. Doesn't really matter whose CIA director it was, bro. Doesn't really matter, does it? That Afghan national also continued working for the CIA all the way through Trump's administration. According to the reports, he worked for them for 8 fucking years. So let's get on to the fucking news, right? So let's just talk about it. So the person who committed the shooting against the 2 National Guard officers in Washington, D.C., was an Afghan national whose name is long and hard to pronounce even for me, so I'm not going to attempt it here. But he was um, apparently he worked for what was called a zero unit, and he'd worked there for something like 8 years or more. And based on the times when the official pullout was started and the time when he came over here, he had to have been recruited as a child. He had to have been recruited as a teenager. So that's fucked up thing number one. That the CIA was backing an Afghan army unit that was actively hiring child soldiers. That's fucked up just on its own. And it's not out of character for the CIA either. It would not be the first time the CIA has used child soldiers in furtherance of our conflicts abroad. Yet another reason why I don't think we have any fucking business being anywhere near fucking Venezuela. But leaving that aside, he was then allowed to come over here with Operation Allies Welcome as part of the many thousands of Afghans who were allowed to come over to the United States because they had assisted the United States war effort against the Taliban. And naturally, the US was trying to do the humanitarian thing and allowing people to come over here en masse from that conflict that had helped us and were likely to be targeted by the Taliban in the event of the government we had set up and propped up collapsing, which was happening rapidly as we transferred power basically to the Taliban and left our fake government to the wolves. After a while, he failed to assimilate, basically, and I don't mean even culturally assimilate. He just failed to really engage with his new life. He went from being someone who had a very specific life that was all, like dominated since he was like 14 or 15. He'd been doing nothing but fighting with Afghani warlords and shit. And then he suddenly came over to America to Bellingham, Washington, and was expected to work a regular fucking job and expected to live a regular fucking life, and every fucking social service along the way pretty much failed him. Every kind of intervention that could have happened didn't. And what it eventually culminated in was his fucking crazy PTSD fucking mental health deteriorating ass going and shooting 2 National Guard troops that shouldn't have been in the city in the fucking first place. This is a tragedy, but it's a fucking tragedy that Trump directly caused, and it's a tragedy that the American government more broadly caused. We need to understand that this is not just Trump. This specific event is, But something like this event was always bound to happen as long as America had policies like we had and continue to have in regards to CIA black sites and the way we treat foreign nationals and foreign fighters and everything like that, the people that we piss on in order to take power in other countries. Until we change this horrible set of policies, until we move away from this neoconservative ideal as to how we should run our country and how we should operate on the global stage, we are going to continue to see horrible fucking things like this play out. I agree on a trans person. Whenever I go to her streams, there's always some random transphobes. Oh yeah, you can't go far without finding transphobes on a trans person stream. About 36% of Americans are illiterate are literate beyond the fifth grade, and only about 61% of Canadians are. The Gumps are unfortunately inevitable. Yeah, 60% of American adults read at or below a fourth grade level. 60% of American adults read at or below a fourth grade level. 60% of American adults read at or below a fourth grade level. As someone who reads at a college level, that makes things difficult sometimes. That makes things difficult for me sometimes because honestly, I feel like people should be more informed than they are. And it's not largely their fault, but it is frustrating. And I feel like there is more agency for people like that in that position than we give them credit for, especially with the internet being what it is. Plot twist, you're CIA? Not hardly. If I was CIA, I wouldn't be this poor. Of course, you have to subscribe to say your opinion. It's like all the liberal fake news who turn the comments off. Disgusting liberals and people like this should leave the country if they hate it. Holy shit, you're so pissed off and salty, but you still subscribed, didn't you? You still subscribed, just like you still make an account on CNN.com to comment in their comment section. Can I message yet? Yes. Why would you waste your fucking message? There's a fucking time limit on. There's a slow mode on. Why would you waste your message by asking if you can message? What's up, Desi? I'm sorry I haven't answered your DM, by the way. Thoughts on Jimmy Dore? I thought Jimmy Dore was pretty neat and pretty interesting until he went on his hardcore anti-vax stuff. And ever since then, I haven't really kept up with Jimmy Dore. Ever since he became like anti-vax kind of fucking vaccine denialist kind of weirdo. I don't know. I'm just not trying to hear it from anybody, dude. I'm just not trying to fucking hear the vaccine skepticism. Fucking, I took both the fucking vaccines and I have yet to drop dead from a heart attack. And everybody I know that took 2 of the vaccines has yet to drop dead from a heart attack. And everybody I know that got the boosters has yet to drop dead from a heart attack. I feel like I'm constantly hearing anecdotal stories about it, but all the fucking statistics I see about it are based on fucking unreliable sources. So, like, what are we talking about here? It sounds to me like a political thing. It sounds to me like a highly politicized issue that's been made to be. Well, it's a highly politicized issue that is ultimately just a scientific issue that should never be politicized. Thank you, a frightened sofa, for the $10 Canadian. I appreciate that so much. That is so fucking kind of you. You guys should fucking send super chats just like some random Canadian did, because those are good and I love them and they are great. So make sure you guys send super chats or donate to my Cash App, which is on my channel description. Hit that like button, chat, even if you hate Beebs. We know you can't stop the temptation to be here. So help pour cereal into your own bowls. Exactly. You like the content. Whether you're here to hate on me or you're here to watch the fucking, to watch the disaster, the train wreck play out, I don't really care. All I care about is that the views continue to go up and that the subscriber number continues to go up. So hit that like button. Hit that fucking comment button. Do all the things. Interact. We need to stop politicizing human rights and science 100%. 100%. It needs to be treated as so basic and so out of line to question that kind of thing. It needs to be treated like just absurdity. Like whenever somebody is going around like being transphobic, they need to be treated like they're talking something absurd. Like it's just obvious that the scientific position, because it is, the obvious scientific position is obvious. That's what people should hold, is the fucking overall scientific opinion on this highly studied issue. And I think the people that are choosing to deny it despite the obvious fucking science in regards to trans people, I'm not saying treat them like they're stupid, but I am saying don't allow them any fucking room in thinking that it makes sense, right? Just be like, no, no, listen, here's why it works. Here's the science behind it. Here's some sources you can look into. It, like, I can't even believe someone would act like that. I can't even believe someone would think like, how do you, like, you need to treat it with condemnation and scorn, but without going so far as to trigger that person's, like, I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you don't want to make them mad, right? You don't want to call them an idiot, but you want to make them feel like an idiot. You want to make them feel like an idiot without calling them an idiot. You don't want to make them feel like you called them an idiot. You want to make them realize they're an idiot by making it so obvious and making it clear how obvious you feel it is and how obvious the scientific fucking consensus makes it seem that this is the correct position. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's another chance to stream out to even more people, which increase the quality of your viewing pleasure, by increasing the number of people engaged in the chat. So double tap your screen or hit the like button if you've got a like button still in your UI. Are you male or female tonight? I mean, I was born with a penis, but I've been living as a woman for the last 5.5 years, so I guess I'm a woman tonight. Fucking weirdo. How does it feel to live in a fantasy where you're a fucking where you believe that you're an actual woman? I don't know. How does it feel to believe in a fantasy where Donald Trump is a good president? How does it feel to believe in a fantasy world where trans people don't exist? How does it feel to live in a fantasy world where God exists? I could ask you a number of questions about the fantasy world you live in. Transphobes are lame and boring. They're the dumbest people on earth, too. They're literally the dumbest, weakest people on earth. I feel like you are the embodiment of what's wrong with the world currently. So what's wrong with the world currently is not starvation. It's not massive wealth inequality. It's not horrible human rights abuses in places like Gaza or Yemen or the Uyghur prefecture or whatever. It's none of that. No, it's fat trans girls in Mississippi. That's the epitome of evil in society. What a fucking stupid comment. What a colossally stupid comment. If you really think that I represent the embodiment of everything that's wrong with society, then you are probably a stronger embodiment of what is wrong with society. Blithe, uninformed morons who look around at the marginalized working people around them and think you're to blame, rather than looking at the people who are actually fucking oppressing you, looking at the people who are actually refusing to pay you anymore, looking at the people who are actually raising your rent every year, looking at the people who are actually raising the grocery prices every year. No, don't blame any of those people. Don't blame any of the people who purchase politicians. Don't blame any of the politicians who themselves are purchased. Blame the trans woman because she's what's wrong with society. Blame the black man because he's what's wrong with society. Blame the Mexican man. He's what's wrong with society. Blame the Asian lady because she's what's wrong with society. Blame it all. Blame it all. Blame it all on anything you have to not blame it on capitalism. Don't lie, Thebes. You are everything wrong in this world. I do say that I'm a nuisance to man and a mystery to God, so I guess I kind of am. Hitting a bull, heck yeah. Kind of, something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to get better about not doing it in front of the camera. Get a job and shut the hell up. How about you shut the hell up and like literally just recognize that being a monetized YouTuber counts as a job if you're making predictable income off of it. Sorry, I made it. Oh, I made over $800 last month, so I'm not fucking worried about your opinion as to what I do for a living. I don't have rent. I don't have a mortgage. The fucking land I live on has been paid off since the 40s. Don't have a fucking water bill because we're on a well. don't have fucking much to fucking, so like I'm able to live on a lot less than a lot of people would be able to live on, and I consider myself pretty privileged for that. But I fucking sing for my supper, bitch. Congratulations on the 800 bucks, baby. Thank you. I was hoping to get over 800 in November, and I fucking managed to do it. So that is my third consistent rate of upward growth. Hopefully, December is my best month yet, and I managed to rack in a full grand or more. That would be really dope. What made you decide to be trans? Nothing made me decide to be trans. I was born trans, as far as I know, as far as I can imagine, because literally, like some of my earliest memories involve me feeling an incongruity between how I felt inside, how I related to my gender, and the body that I was born with. I can remember that playing into some of my earliest memories. So I didn't decide to be trans. I did eventually decide to come out, and what made me decide to come out was a really beautiful song by the Smashing Pumpkins. 800 bucks can buy a lot of soy milk and Tylenol. Yeah, I mean, it can buy a lot of soy milk or Tylenol, or it can buy a lot of diapers and formula and pay phone bill and fucking rent tone bill and fucking grocery bill and fucking overall contribution to assorted household expenses bill, whatever that is abbreviated as. Oh, no. Really, the only pleasure, but like the only pleasure purchases I make with the money I make is pretty much my weed habit and my tobacco habit. Everything else is bills. And I don't smoke nearly as much weed as a lot of people who are like active smokers do. I smoke like 2 or 3 bowls a day, usually. And I've got a pretty small bowl too. You pay taxes? Of course I pay taxes. 800 bucks ain't doing all that. You got to step outside and live in the real world, sir. Don't call me sir, number one. And number two, you fucking can doubt all you want. Like, I'm just being real with you guys. If you doubt it, that's on you. But I'm not going to sit here and try and prove it to you. I don't give a shit what you think. You can cut weed for cigarettes. Not that bad. Cigarettes feel cooler. I already have a tobacco addiction, so you believe in trans buying gold and silver? I mean, I like honestly, like if you're looking for investment solutions, I hear gold and silver are not bad ways to do it, honestly, because they're markets that tend to stay steady. Now, a lot of people will look at gold and silver um, as being ways to like maintain some kind of liquidity in the event of an apocalypse or something like that. And no, that is not how commerce is going to work in the event of some kind of massive disaster. In the event of some kind of massive disaster like that, there's going to be trade based mostly off of goods and equipment, and gold and silver are going to become useless. But if you're looking at them as a way to maintain some kind of like liquid value for this here society we live in, then sure, go buy gold and silver. You know, you could invest your money worse ways. You're a dude. You screaming that in chat doesn't make me a dude. I'm not a dude, and I really fucking don't care that you think I am one. I'm sorry. Go read the Mayo Clinic's write up on transgender people and go learn about what the reality of being trans is like. I'm not your teacher. I'm not your biology professor, and I'm not your sister. I don't need to sit here and explain this to you like you're 5. You can learn about it on your own. And I feel like we've talked about it a number of times. Delusional Democratic. Well, I'm neither delusional nor a Democrat, so try again. I'm a huge opponent of the Democratic Party. I'm an advocate of a strong third party or independent movement. The problem is you can claim whatever you like, but other people don't have to agree with you. Well, that's the thing. I really don't give a shit if other people agree with me or not. I am whether they like it or not. I am whether they like it or not, and I don't give a shit whether they agree with it. I know what the scientific consensus is, and I care more about the scientific consensus than I care about random retards on the internet or random retards going down the street. Sorry. I care more about the scientific consensus than I do about the opinions of random morons. Random, uneducated morons are not a great basis upon which to, you know, predicate your politics. If your politics are going to be based off of the ramblings of random morons, you're going to end up with some pretty schizophrenic fucking politics. I base my fucking politics, my fucking ideas, my fucking um, ideas about reality and shit like that on widely accepted science and repeatability and historical precedent. Weed wouldn't be expensive if it wasn't controlled, dipshits. That's 100% true. The primary reason why weed is so fucking expensive in the places where it is still expensive is because of the degree of regulation over it. And or because the market's just fresh. Like, for example, in Missouri, weed prices are starting to go down. Weed prices are starting to get a little lower, and that's because more businesses have had an opportunity to get in on the permits and everything. Holy shit, 2 super chats in a row. Let me read these. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all a ton. Stacy J, 6350 with the $10. I appreciate that a lot. I admire your courage and I respect you for being unapologetically yourself. Peace from Oklahoma. Hey, we're neighbors. Not literally, but I live in Mississippi, and Oklahoma is like a 6-7 hour drive from here. From like here to the closest point in Oklahoma, probably. So that's dope. Thank you, Stacy. That's tremendously kind of you, and I thank you a bunch. Chat's hatred proves nothing to me because I know what makes them cheer. I know, right? Literally. It's so easy to let that brush off your back when you know what makes them happy. You know what's getting them off. Double whammy. A double whammy. Does anybody else want to make this tip train stay rolling? I mean, you guys got a few minutes to get another one in, but you guys could seriously set a tip train going up right now. You guys could fucking get the fucking tip train rolling. I'll take fucking Cash App donations as a addition of coal to the fucking tip train as well. That counts. Those count. You're not trans, you're a large man, very intelligent, just curious. Do you like male or female? You're not a female, huh? What? Okay, I've been living as a woman for the last 5.5 years. That you don't personally think I'm trans is really fucking weird to me, but I don't really care. As far as whether I like men or women, that's really none of your business. I'm not here to date any of you. Tip train. Hey, yo, yes, tip train. Why do you think you're trans? I just want to be to better understand because I've always felt like incongruous with a male identity. Does that make sense? When I think about the things that boys are supposed to like to do, I hate pretty much all of them. When I think about like the countenance of a man, it's about as far from my countenance as I can get. When I think about like the wearing men's clothes, the years I spent not being trans, where I pretty much had to wear men's clothes as a result of the social position that I was in, right? I could never stand to look at myself in the mirror. I could never stand to look at myself for extended periods of time at all. Now, I do these streams literally with a mirror image facing back at me. And it doesn't bother me a bit because I'm not like dysphoria induced just by looking at myself because I feel like my appearance like matches the way I feel inside. Does that make sense? I'm not as uncomfortable with myself as I was 10 years ago, and that is exclusively because of my transition. I love how somebody who doesn't even have their face in their profile picture is telling me that I don't have any self confidence. I get on YouTube almost every day and do live streams where I sit and talk to the chat, look directly at the camera, look directly at the view counts and everything else, which is right by the camera, have no problem doing it, look at myself gazing back at me in my beautiful ass face, and apparently I've got no self confidence. Okay, interesting review. Let's get this tip train going before these fucking things disappear. Come on, y'all. I know you can do it. I know you guys want to do it. I know you guys want to see it done. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Yes, 100%. Thank you, Nicole. I had an obsession with World War II tanks. The M4 Sherman's high production numbers, despite being outmatched by German tanks in individual combat, were able to overwhelm them just based off of numbers. I don't feel like you have to be like like a particular kind of tank nerd to know that one. I feel like that's pretty much like the most well-known tank fact. It's like if there's like 10 baseline tank facts, that's probably number one. But I get you. I too had a period of obsession with World War II era military technology, armored technology in particular. No tips, man, begging for money. And again, if you were charged, you'd be charged as a man, bud. Charged with what, you fucking prick? What a goddamn weirdo. Don't make us do the heavy lifting, chat. Het them donos. Literally, don't make the fucking whales do the heavy fucking lifting. Come on, you guys. We got the floating heart. The floating heart, it's nice to see. The floating heart's nice to see. It doesn't go down here, though, so I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that counts. I think it counts a little bit. I think it counts a little bit. We'll consider it after these have disappeared. I'll give it a 30-second timer, and if we haven't had another tip by then the tip train is broken down. At that point, it has run out of coal. We got a floating heart. I'll make it a minute. Okay, we got another floating heart, so I'll make it a minute. Okay, so those are gone now. So if by 47 minutes we haven't gotten another donation, then the tip train has ground to a halt. Me as a whole arm now beached and being poked at by German kids with sticks. Give me a break, chat. Yeah, literally. Is that a pentagram by the flag? It's a pentacle. Yeah, it's a pentacle. Grow your hair out? I'm trans because I seek attention, and all these libtards fall for it because it's a battle of who can be more oppressed with that side. Man, Hucking Fuskers is the most pissed off fucking person that I think I've read in chat all day. Literally, how much you want to bet that this is a person who has no personality, no fucking vibe, no fucking chill, who has no redeeming qualities and no friends, and is fucking literally spending their idle time sitting around shit talking me for qualities that they probably best exemplify themselves. Fatness and laziness and all this other shit. You gotta love it. You gotta love these self-unaware retards in the chat. You're delusional. A person thinks that their opinion should be accepted, but they failed fucking third grade spelling. God, begging for donations. It's seriously pathetic. Working at McDonald's no, let me type it. Let me say how they typed it. Working at MC Donald's, I don't know where that is. I don't know what MC Donald's is. Would pay more and be more beneficial to society. Well, luckily for you, and luckily for all of us, I'm not going to fucking work at MC Donald's. I don't even know what that is. I'm going to keep making money here on YouTube, bitter bitch. I'm going to keep on accepting super chats. I'm going to keep on accepting gifts. I'm going to keep on accepting Cash App donations. There's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. I'm sorry that you're bitter about the fact that people like me exist. I'm sorry that you're bitter about the fact that you haven't been able to make it there. Hi, Phoebe. I was mindlessly scrolling through YT Shorts, but I just wanted to stop by and let you know that I think you are incredibly strong for choosing to endure the toxicity of chat. You're awesome. Well, thank you. You should fucking subscribe and hit the bell so you can see more of these in the future because it's really fucking interesting. We do a lot here, a lot of argumentation with people from all across the political spectrum, and people don't get banned for their opinions here. They get banned for being idiots, not for their opinions. If you can type legibly, if you can come up with something original and interesting, we let you stay, even if you're a hateful piece of shit, which is one of the reasons why this chat is such a toxic place, but it's also one of the reasons why these streams are so fun to watch, because I'm actively engaging with the chat the whole time and actively engaging with people who disagree with me. Derailed your channel? Bro, you haven't derailed shit. You haven't derailed shit. Remember to breathe and stay calm, okay? Don't unravel for them. What about my current, what about my current presentation screams unraveling? I feel like I'm pretty even keeled. Remember, I read that one. You have no friends. You literally don't. That's why you doing this right now. You need attention. I have tons of friends, bro. I have so many friends that my fucking Discord is like always lit up with like between 7 and 8 DMs that I haven't responded to, even if I responded to every fucking one of them that morning. Shut the actual fuck up. I wish I was in the position you think I'm in sometimes. Discord is not friends, bro. You so sad, bro. If fucking having friends is like having a bunch of fucking physical in real life people that you're constantly hanging out with, then most adults don't have any friends. There's a difference between engaging with trolls and disagreeing. As a former troll, the best way to diffuse is just ignore them. I mean, like, honestly, you do your shit however you want to, and I'm going to do my shit however I want to. Doing shit the way I've done it has led to me having, like I said, 9.2 thousand subs, around 250,000 returning viewers over the last 28 days. I feel like I must be doing something right. Do you like to garden? I do. I do. Obviously, it's December, so it looks like shit right now. But I feel like there's some streams from earlier this year and probably some from last year where I'm showing off different parts of the garden. Do you just live stream, or is there more to this channel? There is more. Creating that more is an ongoing project, but yeah, there is more. Um, Stay tuned for the more. One thing I'm going to be doing here pretty soon, which I guess will be a live thing, but I'm wanting to the take the conversations that I have there and clip them up into individual videos, is here pretty soon. I was talking to the people from Real Combos last night about it. I'm going to be doing a call-in show here pretty soon where I'm going to have people like you guys from the chat coming in to actually have an on fucking air conversation live one-on-one. You should grow some huge sunflowers. I don't know. Although sunflower seeds are a pretty fucking easy product to sell at a farm stand. Favorite crop to grow? Let me think here. Basil. Basil, dude. It's not I guess it's not a crop, but it's an herb, and it by far is like my favorite thing to grow. I find them to be pretty hard to kill, but I also think that they are just a wonderful thing to have in the garden, especially next to some tomatoes, because every so often you'll catch that combined tomato and basil fragrance. It'll just smell like a pizza kitchen out in the garden. I was about to say kitchen, then garage, then garden. Anyway, um, but basil is nice. It's really fun to go out there and cut down the little flower shoots and shit as it's getting bigger and bushier. And the more you cut the flower shoots, the bigger and bushier it gets. Um, if I had to pick something that's more of like a crop, I guess loofahs, honestly, because loofah gourds they're just fucking fascinating. So basically you grow loofah gourds over a fucking big trellis and shit, and then they will droop down naturally, and they'll get nice and big and long, and um that sounded dirty. Anyway, they'll get nice and huge, and then eventually, like, you don't pick them or anything until they dry all the way out completely. So like there'll be bugs and shit that'll get all up in there and everything, and none of that matters. It's all good. It's like the one crop that you want to rot on the vine, because once that all that process is completed, you let it sit there for like another 2 months, and then it's real cracked and dry and everything, and then you break all that skin off, and then you well, usually you'll break off one end of it and shake the seeds out of it first if you're trying to save the seeds, which you usually should. Um, then you'll take off all the skin, you wash them up and get them fucking washed up and real good, and then they are like a natural sponge. Literally, natural sponge. Probably could be used for all kinds of things. I really don't know. I would love to see if there's been some studies into turning them into, because like it's a natural textile, or it feels to me like it has the opportunity to be made into a natural textile. It's like, I don't know. I think they're a really fucking cool. Um, I just think they're a really fucking cool vegetable, and they're also like super low maintenance, like incredibly low maintenance. Just keep them watered, give them enough trellis space to grow. That's pretty much it, because there really are not that many pests that can chew through a fucking loofah. So as long as they're suspended, they're reasonably safe from mice and rats and shit. And like, most other animals are not even really going to be interested in it. And even if you do have an animal get into a loofah, unless it is something like a rat or a mouse that can actually chew through those fibers, a lot of times they will just peck the flesh away, and you want that gone anyway. Imagine believing in imaginary sky daddies in the 21st century. LMAO, fucking go try. Yeah, literally, go touch grass. You are still believing in a Christian or a Muslim or a Judaic fucking creation myth this many years on, this many years after Nietzsche. You're still trying to bring God's corpse back to life. Wine grapes is my favorite crop to learn about. The horticultures of grapes gets really interesting when you get look into vineyard science. Oh, dude, viticulture is fucking dope. Viticulture is one of the oldest forms of human agriculture, and it's one of the fucking coolest things that human beings have learned how to do. It's one of the types of agriculture that's been studied the longest, too. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, it's a chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality. If you can put your money, if you send more people engage in the chat. Knitting in the garden and sipping coffee is a hitter. That is true. That is a fucking great way to spend a morning or an afternoon. Thoughts about Dusty Smith? Dusty Smith, is that fucking old atheist YouTuber? That's the fucking old atheist YouTuber, right? You could be so smart if you weren't a one-sided imbecile. So which one am I? Could I be so smart, or am I an imbecile? That's just idiotic. Literally, that is one of the most idiotic comments I've read tonight. I could be smart, but I'm a dumbass. Either, like, how do you know I could be smart if I'm a dumbass? Like, I don't get that. It's not about hate. It's about thinking you're better than other people because you're trans and smart and woke. That's the thing. That's a presumption that you have set upon me. I don't think I'm better than them because of those things, but I do think that somebody who hates on trans people for no other reason than the fact that they're trans is a pretty shitty person. Yeah, I'm sorry. I do. Just like I think somebody who shits on white people just for being white, or black people just for being black, or Asian people just for being Asian, or anybody just for being something that they can't help. Just like I think somebody who shits on somebody for being gay is a fucking fucked up person. Yeah, I think I'm better than somebody who shits on trans people for no reason. Yeah, I think I'm better than somebody who shits on black people for no reason. Yeah, I think I'm better than somebody who shits on Muslims for no reason. Yeah, I do. Dusty has an unpopular political show where he supports all left ideology. Um, I haven't watched Dusty Smith since fucking the old drunken peasants days. I'll be real with you. I don't know what Dusty's up to. Seems like you got some solid principles. I try my best. I try my best. Dusty used to hate Muslims. Doesn't he support them now? I mean, that's the thing. I'm not fucking anti-Muslim or fucking pro-Muslim. I am critical of Islam as a religion and accepting of Muslims as a people. Just like I'm Christianity, or I'm sorry, just like I'm critical of Christianity as a religion, but accepting of Christians as people. Dusty went through a weird phase in the DP days, caused a skim, but I hope he's doing good for himself now. Yeah, I have no idea, dude. I don't even remember the old Dusty drama. That's one of those dramas that just did not fascinate me. Dusty is just not that interesting to me. No, it's not a vinegar bottle. I swear to God, I didn't just sit here and drink a fucking bottle of vinegar. No. I mean, maybe it started out life as a vinegar bottle. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. But the last thing it was used for was Dawn dish soap. And then when it got emptied of that, we cleaned it out real good. And ever since then, we've used it for spring water. So this is spring water gathered from a spring local to my area. I have that exact pipe. It's a good one. I've dropped this thing a number of times on all kinds of different surfaces and it has yet to break yet. So that's pretty fucking dope. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. I keep trying to remember to pimp at this stream because it really does help. Every single time I hit that like button, it's a chance to stream out to even more people. Increase the quality of people, pleasure, bring us people engage in the chat. So please do so now if you haven't done so already. Thank you. Seriously, hit the like button. Also, if any of you guys is interested in Brett Keane, if any of you guys is interested in Brett Keane, the manatee, I need you all to go watch the latest fucking video on my channel. I need you all to go watch it. Even if you watch it after the stream, if you hit it on your watch later, I don't care. Just go watch it, go like it, go fucking hit it up, and send it to his ass. Fucking tweet it at him on Twitter. Fucking send it to him in DMs on Twitter. Get it to him. I want to fucking debate this fat fucking manatee. He wouldn't do it for deep fat fried, but maybe he considers me enough of a pissant that he'll do it. I just want to see. I just want to know. So if you're interested in Brett Keane content, please go watch that video. Please go spread it. Can you ship me some extra keef? Dude, I don't have no extra keef. Dude, the fucking pot I have right now is it's not very good. I'm not gonna lie. It's okay. I mean, it's better than nothing, but only just. Please hit the like chat. 3 likes is criminal with this level of engagement. You might miss the best internet chance to drama of your life if Phoebe's channel doesn't get recommended to you. Yes, 100%. Thank you. I guess not. You guess not what? Have you heard anything from the manatee yet? No. I have not heard anything from the manatee just yet. I'm still waiting with bated breath, but I have not heard anything from the manatee just yet. Do you celebrate Christmas if you aren't Christian? Yes, I do celebrate Christmas. Fucking goddamn it. I do celebrate Christmas. I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense for me to, but I love Christmas. And I really don't have any problem celebrating the birth of Christ as a philosophical figure. Like, that's the thing. I may not worship Christ as some kind of divine figure, but I do look up to Christ in a big way as a philosophical figure. Like, Christ might be the philosophical figure with which I have the most fucking familiarity, if I'm being honest with you guys. Like, leaving aside all the other philosophers throughout the world, all the other religious fucking leaders, Jesus is the one with which I have the most familiarity with because I was raised in a Pentecostal church. So that's who I know. As far as like philosophy goes, as far as like I will be fucking real with you guys. You would be shocked at how much of my philosophy ultimately derives from Christ, from Christ's morality, from Christ's prescriptions, whether it's the Sermon on the Mount or the Beatitudes or whatever. You would be shocked. I just don't look at him as a divine figure. I think his moral lessons are separate from this idea of him as some kind of divinity. You have faith in Christ and the Bible? No, not in the sense that I believe in them as some kind of divinity. Once again, I look up to Christ in terms of him being like a philosophical thought leader that I think had a lot of good things to say and a lot of really apt critiques of society, both back then and now. But I don't look up to him as some kind of religious figure, and therefore I don't worship him. I celebrate Christmas because it's our holiday, winter solstice, the one you Christians stole. That's true. That's true. Christians want to claim domination and domineering over fucking Christmas, but the truth of it is, the Christmas is a stolen holiday that originally belonged to pagans. The Beatitudes were a set of guidelines and recommendations given to Christ to his followers during the Sermon on the Mount, I believe. Can I send you 300 as a donation? I believe you can, either through Super Chat or my Cash App, which is in my channel description. If you do, I'll announce it. Either way, I'll like I do for everybody. I'm gonna fucking freak out if somebody donates $300 though. Nobody can steal Christmas, not even the Grinch. I agree. Nobody can steal Christmas. Don't leave, spear, spear, spear. Come on now, you gotta stay. You gotta see if this person's gonna come through with the 300. I love Christmas as well. It's not like the message of peace on earth and goodwill towards man is something you can't appreciate if you're a non-believer. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Merrick. The message of Christmas stands whether you believe in the divinity of Christ or not. No, Ian Harvey, you get me wrong. I'm not saying the evidence for Christ's divinity is the thing I find such a problem with. I don't think we have any evidence that Christ was a divine figure other than accounts proclaiming him as such. And the Christian Bible says that Jesus described himself as the Son of God, but the Quran says that he didn't. And who's to say which is right? I mean, neither of us were around for the original writing of these documents, so who the fuck knows? It could be a mistranslation, or it could be a misapprehension, or it could be something that was made up by later editors. Maybe around the same time the Quran was being written. Who the fuck knows? Maybe the original story of Christ was not that he was the Son of God, not that he was a divine figure at all, but rather that he was a particularly sinless prophet. Who the fuck knows? What we do know for sure is that there was probably a Jewish preacher preaching a very socialist message that we have identified as Jesus Christ of Nazareth, operating around that time. That he was the Son of God, that's extrapolation based on the Bible, which is self referential. You can't base something being true on a book saying that it's true. Judaism from historical timeline came first, at least from finding of their documents. Yes, I know. I know. But you have to understand, a lot of those traditions, even if they were written down, a lot of them got destroyed. You have to remember just how much persecution the Jewish people went throughout the many centuries of their history. There have been so many Jewish persecutions. They've been basically kicked out of every country on earth at one point or another. And as a result, it's kind of hard to know which sources to trust as to the authoritative story of Christ. That person did not end up sending in that donation. That's kind of sad, honestly. That's a little bit heartbreaking. Somebody was like, "Can I donate 300?" But then they didn't end up doing it. People always teasing me with these big donos. If timeline is your basis, there's plenty of religions that predate the mainstream religions. Oh, well, yeah. I'm not basing it on timeline necessarily. I'm just pointing out that, like, we don't, like, even if you're going to accept religious sources as a source, we don't know the fucking complete story of Christianity. Just because, like, if you apply even a little bit of critical thinking to those religious sources, you have to question even them, even from within. In my opinion, you would have to question them even from a theological standpoint, because who's to say which is correct ultimately? Because of the reasons that I brought up. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. It really does help the stream. It really does help the channel, and I really do appreciate it. It's a cost-free way that you can help the stream. If you have enough evidence for Christ, would you follow him, or do you disagree with some of the core teachings of the Bible? I mean, I guess it depends on which core teachings you're talking about. I have a lot to disagree with the Old Testament. As far as, like, Christ as described in the New Testament and everything, I would have no problem at all following that particular Christ if he were somehow able to demonstrate his divinity to me. Like, his existence as a divine figure, like I said, is different from his existence as some kind of philosophical leader, some kind of philosophical thought leader that is to be learned about and maybe looked up to as a source, but not necessarily revered or worshipped. The thing is, it's so hard to be actually educated on and informed on what the right does and still vote for them. Yeah, literally. Most people that are deeply familiar with right wing policy are not going to end up voting for right wingers unless they themselves are in a position to be helped by them, and most people are not. I think thrifting things left, and that's kind of sad. Maybe Thrift and Things was just trolling me earlier. Jesus was the Paul of the Bible. The Testaments were the D&C. That's true. That's true. It took me a minute to get the reference you were making, but that is true. Do you not think it's harmful that the definition of woman has changed to become more inclusive? No. No, because the definition of woman has changed to become more inclusive over the last 100 years. It hasn't ultimately had much to do with the trans movement. Like the definition of what makes a valid woman has expanded a whole hell of a lot. And if you disagree with me, just look at all the reasons why women used to be sent to asylums 100 years ago. Just look into what you had to do to be considered a legitimate and honest and virtuous woman, right? And anything you did outside of that subjected you to worse treatment and to dehumanization on some level. Hi, Post Music. Hi, Post. I like that even though you're not Christian, you still do like the core concepts and teachings of Christ. Well, thanks, Ian. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a complete monster. I recognize that Jesus had some good things to say, even if I don't personally believe in his divinity. Right wing is a rabbit hole that spirals into bootlicking, and left wing does the same. Just the boots they're licking are different. See, I feel like that depends on the direction you go when it comes to the left wing. There's an anarchist direction too, where there's no boots to be licked, where you're encouraged to go off and find your own community, man. Where you're encouraged to, if you've got a bunch of people in your little town that all feel like you do, go fucking out and start a new town and start a new syndicate. Under a perfect anarchist utopian society, we would all have the ability to do that. If you wanted to create your weird little fucking, like black separatist community, okay, go ahead. Like you can remain in trade and communion with the rest of the fucking syndicates around you and everything, and that'll be fine. Like maybe there's some basic baseline human rights kind of laws that are enforced across the entire syndicated confederation or whatever you would call it, but they're not enforced by some kind of privileged police class. They're enforced by people who are um, authorized to. I think ultimately a society like that would have everyone authorized to detain someone until you had some kind of force, not, once again, not cops, but some kind of group that would transport people from wherever they did this like horrible thing, because once again a society like this isn't going to have a concept of like hate crimes or anything like that. Some kind of anarchist utopia is not going to lock you up for any kind of thought crime, right? um, but if you do something like killing someone, right, so, like, you would still have to have some kind of investigative branch and everything, but this idea of qualified immunity, gone. The idea of people being privileged above other people and being given, like, extra fucking leeway within the law because they happen to be a cop, nope, that wouldn't happen. But now we're just getting into the weeds at this point. I was raised right leaning to I was raised right leaning to centrist at best, which we all know is still just right anyhow. And sadly, I was born slash raised more educated, learned to think, question more than they got. So I just never blindly agreed with their BS. So I was outcast. Yeah. 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 Um, fuck. I had a place I was going with that. I had a place I was going with that. Um, Yeah, no, I was raised in a family that was kind of conservative, but my parents were split. My mom was way more of a lefty. My dad was more of a center right kind of person, and ultimately, I don't feel like that drove a wedge between us because I don't feel like they were. Well, my mom and I agree a lot politically on a lot of different things. Not completely, but we agree on a lot of overall tendencies. And my dad is not so hardcore conservative that he's like anti-trans people being allowed to live their lives or whatever. Getting into the weeds while smoking the weeds? Yeah, that never happens, right? That never happens. I honestly encourage you to go look at some archaeological evidence as well as biblical links to real life historical events if you're at all interested in the Bible. I have, and like I said, I'm not convinced of the divinity by any of it. That's wonderful. Politics shouldn't get in the way of friendship and respect. I 100% agree. I 110% agree. 110%. 110% agree. 110%. 110% agree. 110%. 100%. Why didn't he read Caleb's comment? Number one, I'm not a he, and number two, because Caleb called me a guy, I'm not a guy. I don't know. Why did I read your stupid ass comment? That's the real question. When I saw a British soldier, he said, "You are a swine." He punched me in the face and he kicked me in the groin. I begged and I pleaded, all my manners were polite. But all the time I was thinking of my little Armalite. And it's down in the bog sides, it's where I long to be. Lying in the dark with the Provo Company. A comrade to my left, another one on my right, and a clip of ammunition for my little Armalite. Hey Phoebes, what would your first original concept album be about if you recorded one? I don't know, man. That's a good question. What would your first original concept album be about if you could make one? Oh man, I really fucking don't know. Dude, you know what it would be about? It would be about somebody traveling across the country. I think that would make a really fucking cool thing. Doing like some kind of fear and loathing in Las Vegas kind of evocative of that project where the narrator is like discovering themselves and discovering like the nature of the political shift that they've been living through the last few years. You know, like cover and fictionalize my life and the political shift that was going on between 2020 and 2023, 2024. I think that would be pretty cool because there are some awesome stories in there that could be turned into some beautiful songs. He got me, but I didn't even read it. Gotcha. Gay stuff, probably. Jesus Christ. Jesus, man. Yeah, we are a bit like sorcerers here, random Canadian. You realize that? We're kind of like fucking, we're like sorcerers trying to turn these people from sheep from herd animals back into human beings with critical thinking. That's incorrect. If it wasn't for Constantine and the Edict of Milan, Christianity would have remained a cult. Many Christians do not even know the origins of their own religion. That is true. Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know if you're someone who's been disagreeing with me or agreeing with me, but you're right on that count. Yeah, the origins of Christianity becoming something that was greater than just like a few persecuted tribes in Judea. The thing that turned it from a few persecuted tribes in Judea and the surrounding region into a major world religion. The first step on that journey was Constantine. He was the fucking first step in that journey. People will cite it as Peter, but Peter was the leader of a persecuted cult. Peter was not the leader of a cogent church with, like some kind of highly organized bureaucracy and shit. That all came later. Um, that came after Christianity became the state religion of the Roman Empire. What was left of the Roman Empire. And that was started by Constantine, who took a liking, for whatever reason, to Christianity. You can see this in church architecture and the rise of it. Yeah. I agree with a lot of your talking points. Lose me at the trans stuff. You're born biologically male. Why not accept the fact I'm a man? Because wearing men's clothes makes me feel like I'm gonna crawl out of my skin. Why should I have to do something that makes me feel so profoundly uncomfortable? Why should I have to call myself something that makes me want to revolt every time I hear it? Why should I have to why should I have to live a someone else's lights when it comes to my gender identity? Like ultimately, how does it hurt you that I wear women's clothes and have a feminine name and am trans? Like how does it hurt you in any way? Not only that, but how is it hurting anybody? Because the science seems to indicate that trans people are way happier if they are allowed to come out and are accepted by their communities. Your summary nails the main idea. Peter, the head of the Catholic Church as we think of it today, back projected later hierarchy onto him. Yes, 100%. Yes, that is fucking 100% true. The Roman Catholic Church was an invention of the dying throes of the Roman Empire. And that's why it's funny to me when people say the Roman Empire ended, right? Because it didn't. Roman Empire never ended. You serious? Oh, what? Because the line of empires ended? Because the official seat of government changed from Rome to Constantinople and then back to Rome, and it became ecclesiastical in nature? Oh, that means the Roman Empire is over, does it? Why is the Catholic Church the richest institution in the world then? Why does the Catholic Church continue to have outsized influence over the politics of the countries that it's heavily involved in? Why do Catholics continue to occupy positions of political power all across the world? When you hear Catholic, you should hear Roman. Read Catholic, hear Roman. We're currently living in the Roman Empire. Yeah, but what a lot of people don't realize is that we are living in the original Roman Empire. It just doesn't function, dude. It just evolved. It evolved, dude. It evolved. It didn't end. It fucking evolved. America is just a vassal state of the Roman Empire. Yeah, literally, literally. A lot of people don't look at it that way. A lot of people would probably are probably gonna think like, is she an idiot? What? But it's true, dude. America continues, not just in the form of tithes directly to the Catholic Church by parishioners located in the United States, but by aid that we send to countries that are dominated by Catholics. Like there are all kinds of ways that America basically helps to prop up Catholic power structures. And you think the Catholic Church has no influence over that, over the mechanisms of that power? I do. I think they do. The political entity that ruled Europe until the 19th century was the Holy Roman Empire, crowned by the Pope. Yep, 100%. Dope chainmail shirt, kind of jelly. Thanks. It's comfy. It's really nice. Um, now that was a rabbit hole worth my time. There you go. This channel's fucking dope. I just wish that person who had offered to send 300 had really done it, because that would have made my whole month, bro. That would have been a great donation to make on the first day of the month. Plus, if I had 300 bucks in my fucking Cash App right now, that would be immensely fucking helpful, because I need to put fucking gas in the car, and I need to fucking pay my mattress payment, which my partner said they were going to be paying after we broke up, but now I'm finding out that they're just not gonna, and they're like, I don't know, like fucking, they're kind of being petty about it a little bit, honestly. But it's like I didn't tell them to tell me that, but like, don't tell me something and then, yeah, I didn't tell my ex to that they had to keep paying for the bed, but they told me that they would. And when I texted them about it today, they were like, no. But it's okay. It's chill. All is well. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine somehow. Gays forced to be transitioned or executed. Fix that for you, by the way. Although, if you are a trans person in Iran, like, you know, if you're like just a trans person in Iran, and you're like not like if you're asexual or something, I guess you're okay, you know. Or if you're straight, exes. How could something so fair be so cruel? Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. Probably shouldn't even be telling you guys about it, honestly, but it is what it is. Romans were later impacted by Christ and his life, miracles, and crucifixion, and that he rose again from the grave. Um, yeah, I just think Romans took up the banner of Christianity as a way to continue the Roman Empire. Rome's fall was also multifaceted. Imperial overreach, overtly corrupted politicians, overspending of currency. Wait, why does that sound familiar? Yeah, why does that sound familiar? Something does ring a bell about that. I can't place it. I just need to find a good Roman woman. Yeah, me too. Find me a good Roman girl. She'll make my problems go away. smoking resin right now because the weed I have is like worse than mids. Better than Reggie, but worse than mids. Someone who can make me great pasta. Great pasta. Really wonderful pasta. A pasta. Oh man. Making copious amounts of Italian food is my only wifely quality. That would be the only wifely quality that I think I would be like no, I mean like there honestly I would be appreciative of anything that's ever been described as a wifely quality, I think, but like I'm not gonna say that would be a requirement. But dude, if I dated somebody and they didn't like pasta, I think I would cry. I think I would just have to not. I think I would have to dip out on that one. I'd have to go for cigarettes and not come back. You know what I'm saying? Gnocchi is the best pizza. I love making gnocchi. Gnocchi is pretty good, actually. I like how you engage in conversation and you're really open. Yeah, that's what I try to do. That's what we're here to do ultimately, is to have conversations with diverse political backgrounds and religious backgrounds and things like that, with coarse language and our real personalities. If I can't offer that, I'm not offering anything. Pasta babes in chat. Pasta babes. This guy loves pasta. Keep your chins up, man. You'll get that Roman girl. Oh, man. Nathaniel Hig, you still here, bro? You're still salty? I'm not a dude, but if you want to keep misgendering me, I'm not going to ban you. Hey, dude, what's up? Hi, Asian American 3 or 113 or whatever. Roman girls are objectively the freakiest in bed. I hope we all get one. Is that true? Why are we talking about Roman girls? Okay, I guess I brought it up, but like, what? Hold on. Is there like actually like mythology and lore behind Roman girls? I didn't know this. This is good to know. It doesn't surprise me because I've got a long fucking storied lineage of debauchery. Pretty good. Nulci is astounding. Nulci isn't that good, man. Not to me. Fucking boiled potato dough. I have love handles to support? Yeah, dude. Me too. Me too. Same. You're just playing role playing, right? Huh? Yes, we Roman girls are real and we are a mythical breed. Oh, okay. Well, good to know. I would not have known. Now I've been informed. I've been informed. I don't know what ethnicity I pictured you, but I don't know that it was Italian. That's okay though. I'm just looking for my Hera. Well, I hope you find her. Earliest historical use of mass-produced dildos was from Roman girls, along with pegging. They were indeed the freakiest that we know of. Holy shit! Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm not Roman. I'm just obsessed over gnocchi. Right on, right on. Teased with a $300 donation. View count dead because we've probably gotten fucking age gated. Fucking Wi-Fi turning itself back on for no reason. Can the stream go any worse? I'm kidding. Agreed. I won't lie. I'm moved from Democratic more back to Republican since 2020. I'm not what everyone sums up to be. I truly believe we're Americans first. We should find more love and compassion. I agree. And it's ultimately like people like in your position that I really hope to win over for some kind of strong third party or independent movement or something like that in the future. Because I feel like there are a lot of Republicans in your position, a lot of people who are on the right or on the center right or whatever, maybe even centrists that go back and forth, but that ultimately are not happy with either of the parties. It's they see what I see, wrong with both parties. They see that the Republicans love to preach populism when they need to win an election, and then they're anti populist the moment they get into office. They know that they love to talk a big game about what they're going to do for regular working class people and for jobs and for trade and for all that. But when they actually get into office, very often their policies support the billionaire class. They know that the Democrats are basically the same thing, but in a fucking with blue hair, right? And they're a little bit nicer to gay people and queer people and trans people, but they also see that they don't actually do anything for us. And so it's like, well, they can't even be said to stand on their principles on that. So I'm just going to go over to the fucking right because at least the Republicans occasionally say that they're going to do good for business and do good for business. At least they're standing on some kind of principle every now and again. Whereas it looks like the Democrats can't even stand on their social principles. At least the Republicans can. I think there are a ton of people who are on the right or adjacent to the right who could be moved over to a hardcore leftist movement if it went with a hardcore economic agenda for improvement of the American working class and found people some kind of middle ground on some of these social issues. Or maybe just fucking um, maybe just like put a pause on that kind of thing for long enough to get us some of this economic relief that's so important. There's issues and extremism on both parties. Yeah, there's corporatism on both parties. There's crony capitalism operating both parties. There's like there's criticisms you can make of both fucking parties, and there's criticisms you can make specifically of Republicans and specifically of Democrats. I don't think that either of them are a very good fit movement to lead the country in the next 4 years or the next century. Something about showing them a Trojan horse, yeah, something. Uh, yes, we do love Veronica. I think that's her name. I think. I think. Oh my god. I hope I'm not getting it wrong. You're not getting it wrong. Love you, peeps. Oh, I love you too. I'm glad. I'm glad I remembered. Very, very well put. One thing I learned is no party wants Hitler again. It's crazy how that gets used. I certainly don't think anyone should advocate for violence or hatred. You said it best. Yeah, I mean, I do think that the Hitler accusations should probably cool down. I get why they're being used. It's a complicated thing for me, right? Because on the one hand, Trump is doing a lot of like Trump is doing a lot of shit that makes me wonder if he's not trying to be like on that level. Like maybe not trying to be, but maybe he's like idealizes that on some level because he is being a fascist. He is being an authoritarian in a lot of ways. And we could go into those, but ultimately I'm not I'm not one of these people who compares to Trump directly to Hitler because I don't think that modern fascist policies resemble the policies of Nazi Europe. And I don't think that Trump wants to open up a bunch of concentration camps. At least that's not what his rhetoric seems to be indicating yet. It seems like he does want to treat them pretty inhumanely. It does seem like he wants that. Like he was talking about wanting to revoke the naturalization status or whatever of any migrant who can be said to be destabilizing to Western society or something like that. It's just like who is that? Who gets to make that determination? So now anybody who disagrees with Trump basically is subject to deportation. That's not right. That's not how American citizenship's supposed to work. And that kind of thing is something we need to fucking get a hold of. But it is, you know, different from concentration camps. Not Hitler level, but like Diet Hussein. Yeah, something like that, maybe. There are degrees to these things, you see. Oh, well, I guess I'll check just to make sure. But I think that thrifty person left earlier. I voted for Kamala. I've been happier than I was with him in 2020. I hated him bad. I couldn't agree with you more, though. May sound weird, but I was deeply hurt about Charlie's death. A lot of people agreed pretty heavily with Charlie Kirk, but I don't think that that means he should have been. It didn't. It didn't hurt me because I wasn't emotionally attached anyway. But I get why it did a lot of people. For Kamala, I voted for. I didn't vote for anybody actually. I didn't vote in 2024, but in 2020 I voted for Joe Biden, and in 2016 I voted for Gary Johnson. Deport instead of unalive, censorship, accepting bribes. Yeah, basically Diet Hussein has a nice ring to it. Yeah, it does kind of have a nice ring to it. I like that shit. Yeah, it has a ring to it, don't it? Quiet, Trump. Daddy's only gone for a moment. Now hush, Diet Hussein, don't you cry. Everything's gonna be alright. Same, I voted for Joe too. Yeah, and I wasn't entirely pleased with Joe's performance. I thought he did pretty shitty. I just feel like we need so much more than we're getting. I just feel like we need fucking critical change in this country, and I just don't see it happening. Love your takes. It's nice to hear perspective from someone other than biased media. I mean, I'm biased too, but I wear my biases on my sleeve. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm a leftist. I'm a hardcore lefty, and I'm a fucking anarcho syndicalist that wants to see us all living in some kind of fucking crazy commune that most of you guys would probably find disgusting. Okay, but I wear that on my sleeve. I don't bullshit you guys about it, and I'm honest about my sources. I tell you guys where I got whatever piece of bullshit I'm talking about. I tell you guys what article I read and what source it was from and everything. This last election was the first one I voted for. It was to not have the angry orange man in office. That turned out great. Yeah. Well, sadly, Kamala was just not a compelling candidate. You have no one to blame for the loss of Kamala but the DNC. The DNC should have fucking, number one, they should have stopped Joe Biden from running. They should have fucking stopped that. They should have killed it in its cradle. Not, I'm not saying they should have to Joe Biden. I'm saying his campaign. Okay, I'm saying they shouldn't have allowed that to go to seed because allowing it to go on all the way to the debate was the worst political decision the DNC has ever made. Literally, might be one of the stupidest things the Democratic National Committee has ever done. They should have never, ever, ever allowed it to get to that point because once that happened, I don't even know if the DNC could have won after that point unless they'd allowed a completely open convention and gotten some kind of really badass, really fucking compelling socialist like a Zoran type or something like that. I don't think it would have made a lick of fucking difference. Excuse me. Excuse me. They would have had to get somebody with really fucking compelling policies in there, and they just won't allow that. Americans aren't looking for normal, middle of the road centrists. Trump is proof that Americans are looking for crazy, out of the box solutions. They're looking for boisterous voices. They're looking for the best vibes. The DNC could have provided that, and they chose not to. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna go for now. It seems like chat has pretty much died down and dried up, so I guess we'll give it like 5 more minutes. But after that, we're gonna call it quits. Bye, y'all. Have a great rest of your day or night. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna stay maybe 5 more minutes. But yeah, we're gonna start closing up shop here in a minute, I think. Age restriction? It might be age restricted. I don't know. It's not telling me it is, but it may very well be. Trump said he can't run in 2028, obviously, but I think JD Vance will. Just wonder who the Democrats will choose. Gavin Newsom, probably, if I had to guess. He's trying to position himself. It's the primary battle, I think, is going to be between Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, and hmm, hmm, Tim Walz, maybe? But he might just run as somebody's running mate or something. I don't think Tim Walz is going to run, though. I think his political career is going to be pretty fucking hurt by the allegations coming out of his state's Department of Health and Human Services or whatever. I think his career is going to be shot by that, but I may be wrong. So I would say it's going to be between Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, AOC, and that might be it. That just might be it. I'm trying to think of any other prominent Democrats that might try and step up to take that seat. I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Is it Kamala Harris? I did say Elizabeth Warren, I think. So Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Gavin Newsom, Elizabeth Warren, AOC. Maybe that one dude will try again, but I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. I can't think of his name. His name is escaping me right now. But he's from West Virginia, Ortega or something like that. I can't remember. Onanda or some shit. I can't remember. But the primary race is definitely going to have Kamala in it. It's definitely going to have Gavin Newsom, and I think it's going to be mostly divided between those two. We know Joe's going to be out of this next race. There's no way he puts his fucking old ass, fucking decrepit ass foot back in there. Bernie has pretty much announced that he's not going to. He hasn't officially said it, but it's pretty much a given that he's trying to give his energy to AOC. So we know she's going to be in there. And Cory Booker has been using basically every opportunity he can to try and increase his image. He beat Strom Thurmond's record for the longest speech ever given in the Senate. And I think that was basically just him doing some early on positioning for 2028. So, and Elizabeth Warren, she just keeps on running and keeps on running and keeps on running. So something tells me. Now, 2024 was weird. 2024 was weird because there was like hardly anybody running for the Democratic presidential ticket. There was like, there was like two people running, and the DNC had a fucking closed convention. So I think you just got to start a new stream. Too early to be this slow already. You think so? I completely agree. America has become desperate for answers and are um, clinging to whatever answer is different, which is terrifying. And it can be terrifying for sure. Give me Bernie. He's getting old though. Give us a new out the box Democrat I could be interested. Who's Andrew Yang? Andrew Yang was this guy who was doing the fucking UBI shit. He's kind of anti-porn now, which makes me kind of wary to accept him as a candidate. But he's got a lot of positions that I would support. He's got a lot of things that I would advocate for. So I'm not completely anti-Yang. But yeah, we need a new, out of the box, compelling Democrat. Either we're not going to get Bernie Sanders. We need to give up on that. But we might be able to get somebody who isn't a known quantity insofar as being like a DNC shill, but I don't think we're going to get that. Dude, the DNC is fucking allergic to winning. The DNC is allergic to winning with people and ideas that they consider contrary to their interests. The DNC is more interested in pleasing their corporate donors than they are in governing the country effectively. And that makes them badly suited to the project of finding a good presidential candidate to lead the country in a positive direction. No matter who we get, right or left, they will tell us what we want to hear and do what their donors say. That's why I think we need to find a grassroots candidate, though. That's why I think we need to find somebody that's supported by us. I would say the universal income is an absolute must. AI job replacement is more real than most realize. More humanoids will destroy the workforce. I've been telling people this for months. I've been telling people this for fucking months now. I've been telling people since I started streaming basically that they need to be more aware. They need to be more aware about the massive amount of replacement that's coming to the many different jobs in this country. And people think about people always think of it as like white collar jobs and shit like that, but it's not just white collar jobs. These humanoid robots, and every fucking year they come out with ones that are stronger while being lighter and having more battery and uptime. And every fucking development like that is one step closer to a robotic workforce at Walmart that stocks the shelves automatically and does it way better than any human ever could. We are fucking 5 years out from there being test stores where they're trying that out. I guarantee it. I guarantee you, Walmart, Kroger, and a bunch of these other big box stores are probably already in fucking talks with these companies to try and get these robots on their workforce. Alex Jones, 2028. I don't know about that. Dude, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know that I would trust old Alex with the fucking nuke codes. Yeah, we'll see tons of people unemployed. Yeah. And at that point, they'll have no option but to implement a universal basic income. But will they do it? Stay tuned, I guess. Well, alrighty. It's been the 5 minutes. It's been more than the 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. Um, I don't know if I will start another stream. I might, but I might not. It's been 2 hours, and that's about how long I usually want to stream, so I might not. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for super chatting. Shame that one person didn't send that, but it's all right. I will talk to you guys some other time and hang out with